very curious, and I think a lot of people are. You do talk about how you, were brought up in a typical middle class setup, and then the usual aspirations were either being an engineer or a medical, doctor, and then of course all of that going abroad, and then things changed for you and you became a lawyer. But I'm curious also to know about how your childhood. You grew up in Hyderabad and you went to a missionary school. So my curiosity is, or I speak for a lot of people, is what were the things, or was there anything usual, unusual in your childhood, things that you observed perhaps, maybe being in a missionary school, that maybe triggered or set in motion certain key philosophies, perhaps,
Right.
when you were young?
So, to be fair, I'm grateful to the teachers who were culturally rooted. But the teachers were perhaps slightly out of sync with the institution's own rootedness, because the school was a Christian school with a majority of Hindu teachers. So there was perhaps, let's say, a nascent friction, which has now become even more pronounced in several schools. Then I think the seeds of this friction were being sown, wherein the institution was forcing its teachers gradually to adopt a fairly modern anti-Hindu tone. Gradually that used to happen. And I remember a couple of teachers, Christian teachers in school, making fun of Ganesh Chaturthi processions in Hyderabad, the celebration of Holi, and a lot of things that may have, let's say, sown the seeds of certain questions and maybe a streak of rebellion. But I should also be grateful for the fact that there were quite a few teachers who, in that environment, were more than happy to speak for and stand up for Bharat's culture.
Wow, that's nice.
And invariably, these would be Hindi teachers or Telugu teachers, not the English ones, of course. Okay, so that made a huge, huge difference. Three, I think that in my generation, which may be slightly antithetical and maybe a lot of people who come from the current generation may be flummoxed about, is that people were aware of caste identities, but it did not make a difference to their friendships. The reason that you were aware of caste identities was to perhaps respect each other's dietary restrictions or maybe certain customs and conditions. But beyond that, it really did not make a difference to entry or access to anybody's homes, nor did it make any difference to the choices that you made in terms of friends. I can confidently say that all those people who are now basketed as Savarnas and Dalits and whatnot, that entire stream I have that's peppered across my friendships in school. Okay. Today it's difficult to even address that topic. Okay. So that is one thing that I think this generation must know, that you have demonized a certain social structure without really understanding what it stands for. It may or it may not be relevant, but the sense of, let's say, moral superiority or let's say sanctimony that you approach that particular structure with may be slightly misplaced. That's one. Two, perhaps this is common again to my generation, that families were fairly rooted in their culture, even if not heavily orthodox or highly religious. There was a certain normalized degree of religiosity which was observed, be it, let's say, celebration of festivals or community participation of certain festivals, or allocating or earmarking a certain day of the week for observance of certain festivities, or simply a spiritual practice. This was seen as normal. So that entire childhood, coupled with the fact that I'm the product of a joint family, okay, at least in the early formative years, must have put together a certain filter which has managed to survive the ravages of modernity, okay, and which has managed to survive all the ragging sessions for being a Brahmin or for whatever it is. So these are things that have managed to survive. So all of this, when it reached I think 2002 to 2006, when I was doing my engineering, is when I decided that if I do not stand up for the way of life that I have grown up with or I'm associated with, I will see it perish and die in my own lifetime. So contrary to popular perception and the hagiography that's typically built around, let's say, my movement or the causes that I choose, I'm not fighting for the society. I'm not fighting for dharma. I'm fighting for the way of life that I'm dearly attached to. And the hope is that I'm able to pass on at least whatever remains of it to the next generation. So it's an extremely selfish battle. It's an extremely personal battle. I do not suffer from savior complex. I'm saving myself, period.
Right, right.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.